Yo,
My God,
what's good?
what's happening?
I'm glad you came in. It's good timing. I just had a little debate, but I think you're somebody that I see among everybody where, you know, at least what I see that you do among the music, obviously go check out Bryson on Spotify if you haven't already. You push MAGA, in my opinion, to be more conservative. And I love that. I think the problem with the conservative movement, there's a few, but one of them is clearly they lose ground all the time. I know you're big on the social side. Like 20 years ago, they opposed gay marriage. Now they'll call you a homophobe if you disagree with one of their candidates. You know, they used to be more fiscally conservative, economic. They're not even really conservative at all. And people, when I say that, maybe I'm mean about it sometimes, but you know, I think it's just me trying to like poke the bear where I'm like, come on, we're supposed to be the tough side. And you know,
somebody got to hold people accountable, and I love when you do it, especially when all this new information about these vaccines coming out. But it's like as far as the social issues, bro. 10 years ago, not only Republicans, everybody 10 years ago agreed with mostly social conservative things. I mean, there was more abortions about there was more arguments about the abortion side of things, but even that, the majority of Americans agreed that it was wrong. Now you got people like Tommy Loren saying, you know, stuff that she's saying. You got all now the consensus among conservatives is we support this type of stuff, like homosexuality and same-sex marriage and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know what this is. This is the opposite of reason on why I left the left in the first place. And I just find it's the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
I say this a lot with the lockdown stuff, but I think it's the same with the social conservative stuff. And I say it to try to, I mean, I think it's true. I'm saying the modern conservative movement is further left than Obama was when he got in office. Easy. And he didn't, none of them approved of all of this stuff, you know, like especially the social stuff. That wouldn't have got them an election win. So it's like the crazy part to me with the conservatives like Tommy, and I guess she's defending her friend or whatever, but it's like not only do they not agree with you, which in my opinion, there's a room for that, but they want to call you like hateful and a homophobe and all these names where I'm like, they're looking at their own base, something that everybody agreed with 10 years ago, and not only not standing for it, but trying to weed it out of the movement. Like, you got to go. Like, there's too much hate here. And I'm like, I could call you hateful. I could call you something that the left called. So that's the crazy part, is that they want to act like it's hate speech to have a value that even Obama had, a conservative value.
Everybody had, and it's so interesting, and I find the right being worse than the left because I expect these things with the left. With the right, everybody was like, I remember when because my TikTok got banned. I had almost 400K on TikTok, and they banned it. And everybody was like, the left always canceling people. I said, it wasn't the left. These were people in MAGA hats on TikTok starting to cancel Bryson hashtag, getting my stuff banned. It wasn't the left. You know what I'm saying? And how do we get here? Because, like you said, it's something. Obama was far more right wing than this. And bro,
I like what you're doing because people always ask me on my ships, how come you don't talk about Biden? How come you barely talk about Biden? I'll crack some Biden jokes because I think it's funny. He's an easy target. But I don't expect him to do anything that I want him to do. I'm more annoyed at the right because I don't expect the left to do it. It's not like I'm working for the left. I don't think they'll do anything. So when we get back into power, or when our politicians own a state, that's when I'm blown away. Like in Texas, Governor Abbott, he signed some sort of bill saying that Gab was anti-Semitic. And I'm like, that's a Christian-owned, conservative-owned, right-wing thing. That's not anti-Semitic. You have thousands of Jews that use that platform and don't see a single hateful thing. It's a free speech platform. So you could say there's homophobia on there, racism. You can say there's anti-white, anti-black. People are allowed to say what they want there under most terms, and they try to spear it as hate speech. That makes me even more mad because I expect Mark Zuckerberg to do that. But when our own party is the one censoring our own platforms, that's why I go so hard at the right. And I know you do that in a different way, and I love it. And it's not only not the problem is that there aren't more people that are doing that in their own way. It's not, you're not the problem. It's like the problem is that everybody thinks that that's the problem. It's like, no, bro, you guys are losing ground, and you get mad when somebody wants to stand their ground.
Even with that, bro, with the Greg Abbott thing, I feel like conservatives have swept that under the rug, and they didn't really care much on what he did for Gab. This is the party that claimed to be for free speech, signing something going against a free speech social media platform. And I saw a few people upset about it because I was upset about it, but the majority was like, well, whatever. He's still a Republican. And it's like, I don't understand. I genuinely don't. It's almost like both sides are cultish now. I used to think the left was only a cult, but now I'm starting to say, no. It's both sides got like cult-like behavior. It's insane to me.
I think it's two things. I think, not everybody's a leader. And when you're in a group, it becomes like an echo chamber. So if you're not a real thinker, you just kind of go along with it. And I think there also is, I'm not going to say people are like bought off or anything, but it's easier to not ruffle feathers. So like if I'm right wing, right, and I say Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez sucks, everybody agrees with me, right? You're like, haha, yeah, she does suck. But if I were to like, yo, Governor Abbott kind of sucks for that bill, it's like, whoa, it's a harder thing to do. So I think it's just easy pickings to just make fun of the left. And even with the Cuba stuff, like I don't support communist Cuba. I've never been there. I'm grateful to be in America. But it's like, what are we gonna export to them now? mRNA vaccines and a drag time story hour? Like, I'm sure that they could benefit from some American capitalism, but I'm focused on our country because I feel like we're 10 years away from being Cuba. So you got all these people talking about, I'm like, what about our country?
Bro, we're not in a position to really worry about other countries because our country is like in a crazy state. I've never seen this. The most shocking thing to me, I remember when I first went viral, which was only 2 years ago. When I first went viral, I remember conservatives saying, I will never call a man a she. That would never happen. Even people like Tommy Loren was saying the same thing, like, oh, no, I would never support that. And then yesterday with the Bruce Jenner joint, I saw everybody was like, she. I'm like, bro, what is this? So I said something about it. People in my DMs, Bryson, we need a big tent, okay? Or else we will lose. So I said, how about Nick Fuentes? No, we can't have him in the tent. Right? So it's not really a big tent. How about my views? No, that can't be in the tent. So you're not really a big tent conservative. You're a liberal.
They say, totally. They say conservatism's progressivism with a speed limit, where think about the psychology of we're a big tent for somebody so far left that they wouldn't have even fit in the left 10 years ago. But if you're right wing and more right of me, we don't admit, we won't have you. We won't have Bryson. We won't have Nick Fuentes. So by design, we're only going to slide left because they're kicking out people to the right of them and allowing people into the left of them, where there is a conversation. I would say I'm not going to say I'm nicer than you, but I don't go as hard on certain topics as you just because I'm talking about other stuff. But the crazy part, when I would never silence you, I would never tell you to say no, because I think there's a moral and psychological question to be had. Honestly, like it's like with fat culture, where like I don't care how fat somebody is, but if you want to act like that's the greatest way to be and it's terrible to be skinny, it's like, actually, that's not even true. So at a certain point, it's like, it's not real. So, but in general, it's like, it's not only that people don't say what you're saying, it's that they want you to not even be able to say it, to the point where they're calling you names and stuff. That's the craziest part to me, because I'm like, listen, I'll say what I want to say and I'll call him or her whatever I want at the time. But as far as like trying to blaspheme somebody else out, yeah, how are you going to stop men's playing women's sports if you're not even allowed to properly say what you would have said 5 years ago? And then you won't even allow someone else to say it.
You can't even, in some other countries, you can actually get fined for misgendering. Like, and of course, that's coming here very soon. I mean, we already there on a social level where you get shunned for doing stuff like that. But it's probably going to be in law soon. And you can't even, so we can't, like you just said, we can't even have the conversation because you don't want the other view in the convo. We can't even talk to them, these type of people. So when you ban the opposing view from everything, you don't really have a conversation at that point. There's no disagreement. There's no discussion. All you have is an echo chamber. Everything will be echo chamber.
Did you watch that debate that Nick Fuentes had with Robert Barnes? It was on InfoWars. Did you watch it at all?
I watched a few clips of it. It was hilarious.
Yeah, well, I watched it and I went into it. Obviously, I know some stuff Nick says. I know a lot that Robert says, and I've never disagreed with Robert Barnes that often. I think he's a pretty straight shooter when it comes to a lawyer. I thought Nick wiped the floor with him. I thought he completely wiped the floor with him. He started calling him a conspiracy theorist, and I'm laughing because I'm like, bro, you're on InfoWars. Like, you're calling like me. I'm like, Bryson, you're a conspiracy theorist, homophobe. It's like, that's how you know you lost, when you start using words like that. And then after the debate, he starts calling Nick all these names, Nazi, and I'm like, that's what the left does when you can't intellectually agree with somebody. If I can't have a conversation about sodomy and homosexuality with you without using the word homophobe, like you're not afraid of homosexuals. You just believe that from a Christian standpoint. So they start using this wordage that doesn't even make sense, smearing their opposition, and that's what the right does. It's like the gatekeep. Like, anyone comes to the right of them. And Nick, people can say what they want about him. He's smart and he's calculated in debates. I really think a lot of the right wing is not smart enough or capable enough to debate him. So they want to kind of like chase him away because that makes them feel like more secure with their power. Where I'm like, bro, he's no slouch. So you might not like him, but you better be. And that's like the kid I just had on real quick. You know, he's talking a lot of shit to me on Twitter. He came on here. He didn't even know what he was talking about. He couldn't even name one thing. It took him 6 minutes to disagree. So I told him, I was maybe a little harsh, but I'm like, if you don't know what you're talking about, just stop talking to me on Twitter. But that's a lot of people. They like to block it out instead of actually face it.
Well, my thing is, when people block it out, if ignorance is bliss for you, that's fine. But when you start trying to attack other people as if you know what you're talking about, because this happens with me all the time. People come on my live, and I bring people along. If you have a disagreement, if you're going hard on me in the comment section, I'm going to bring you on. And 99.99% of the time, these people have no clue what they talk about in any aspect. And it's like, bro, why did you go so hard to begin with then? Like, why did you go so hard on me for something you don't even know about when I didn't go hard on you? Like, I don't do anything. One thing nobody can ever say about Bryson, you have never seen me initiate a disagreement with somebody on the internet. I don't go to people's pages because I don't care what you do on your page. I don't care what anybody do on their page. I just want to do what I do on my page.
Do you ever get this? Like, okay, say you respond to somebody and they respond back. Like, you're ready for the smoke because you said something. Do you ever get where people say something to you, you say something back, and they go, oh, jeez. They're like, why did you respond to me? I'm like, I didn't even know who you were till you talked to me. So if you don't want to talk, then shut your mouth.
Bro, that happens all the time. I respond to people on Twitter like, oh, you must be broke. You must need a job if you responded to me on Twitter. I'm like, you just attacked me and I responded, and now you don't like that I responded? I don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm doing what I can because I mean, I'm writing a book. It's not done yet. It's not like a biography, but it's words like, I think I gotta add homophobic to the equation, but racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, all these type of words, conspiracy theorists. You see them start popping up heavily in a debate when people can't explain themselves. For example, if I call you a racist, it means I think I'm morally superior. You're a bad person. But I didn't explain what makes you a racist or why you hate all people. So when people say homophobe, like, to me, that word is so dumb because are you afraid of homosexuals? Like, there's someone behind you, like, oh shit, I didn't, like, you're deathly. No, maybe you disagree with it, or maybe you have a stance about a certain person, or like, not everyone has to like Caitlyn Jenner anyway. It's not like everybody because you're that person, everyone has to like you and vote for you. So these words are really, I think, designed to censor speech. I don't like using them at all. I think they're overused, and you start to see the right use words like anti-Semitic, homophobic, and racist when it's convenient. And most time when they bring those words up, it's for lack of an explanation of why that person is wrong.
They just dislike you, and they need something to cling on to justify disliking you. So, I mean, it happens all the time. It's just sad to me because I risked a lot for this movement, and to see the space that it's in right now, I'm just not with it. I don't know what this is, and if people don't like what I have to say, I don't really care. But I ain't rocking with this stuff. Anybody coming out claiming to be conservative and doing things opposite, and you said something earlier that people say conservatism is progressive just with a speed limit, but it's not even supposed to be like that per the definition, because conservatives are supposed to be people that are adverse to change because they're trying to conserve traditional values. And the fact that we acknowledge that conservative is moving is basically just liberal, just slowly, that's not a good sign, period. That's literally not a good sign.
I'll be independent, I like my amendments, I don't want to bend it, I don't want to sentence, I am on a vengeance, I will not regret it, I am not defenseless, all my friends protected, yeah. We let the enemy get too friendly. Now we quarantine like Julian inside the embassy. Pray, 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 pray.